Cyber Threat Brief for April 13, 2026. Critical Marimo remote code execution exploited within 10 hours of disclosure. OpenAI revokes Mac OS certificates after North Korean supply chain attack. Microsoft 365 mailbox rules remain a persistent threat, with 10% of compromised accounts targeted for credential exfiltration and threat hijacking. Here's the full breakdown of today's top security stories. Daily IT Security Brief, 2026-0413. Next section, Critical Alerts. Marimo Pre-Auth Remote Code Execution, CVE 2026-39987. A critical unauthenticated RCE vulnerability in Marimo Reactive Python Notebook platform saw active exploitation begin just 10 hours after public disclosure on April 8. CVE 2026-39987. CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, 9.3, EPSS, the Exploit Prediction Scoring System, 2.7%/86th percentile, affects versions 0.20.4 and earlier. The flaw exposes the /terminal/WS WebSocket endpoint without authentication, giving attackers direct shell access with Marimo process privileges. First exploitation occurred in credential theft operations targeting. N files and SSH keys completed in under 3 minutes. Attackers demonstrated methodical reconnaissance, PWD, Who Am I, LS, followed by environment variable extraction and credential harvesting. No persistence mechanisms deployed, suggesting stealthy credential theft operations. 125 IP addresses began reconnaissance within the first 12 hours. Action: upgrade to Marimo 0.23.0 immediately. Block or disable access to /terminal/WS endpoint via firewall if upgrade is not possible. Monitor WebSocket connections to this endpoint. Rotate all exposed secrets, cloud credentials, and SSH keys if systems were exposed. Affects users who deployed Marimo as editable notebook or exposed it to shared networks using host 0.0.0.0 while in edit mode. Source: Bleeping Computer. Next section, Business and Infrastructure Threats. OpenAI Mac OS certificate revocation after Axios supply chain attack. OpenAI revoked its Mac OS app signing certificate after a GitHub Actions workflow downloaded the malicious Axios NPM package, versions 1.14.1, 0.30.4, on March 31. Google attributes the supply chain compromise to North Korean threat group UNC 1069, which hijacked the package maintainer's NPM account and embedded the plain crypto.js dependency, deploying cross-platform backdoor waveshaper. V2. The compromised workflow had access to certificate and notarization materials for ChatGPT Desktop, Codex, Codex CLI, and Atlas. OpenAI found no evidence the signing certificate was successfully exfiltrated due to payload execution timing and job sequencing, but is treating the certificate as compromised out of caution. No user data, internal systems, or intellectual property were compromised. Action: update Mac OS apps before May 8, 2026 deadline. Apps signed with the previous certificate will be blocked by Mac OS security protections after this date. Required minimum versions: ChatGPT Desktop 1.2026.071, Codex App 26.406.40811, Codex CLI 0.119.0, Atlas 1.2026.84.2. Older versions will no longer receive updates or support. Source: The Hacker News. Mailbox rules as post-exploitation persistence in Microsoft 365. Malicious mailbox rules are deployed in approximately 10% of compromised Microsoft 365 accounts in Q4 2025. Attackers abuse native mailbox rules for covert data exfiltration, persistence, and email suppression to hide security alerts. Auto-forwarding rules persist after password resets, maintaining visibility into victim mailboxes as long as the rule exists. Attackers favor minimal, nonsensical rule names, single characters like and actions including deletion, moving messages to archive or RSS subscriptions folders, or forwarding to external accounts. Rules target keywords, invoice, wire, contract, or specific senders to collect high-value data. Suppression rules hide password reset emails, MFA, multi-factor authentication, notifications, and security alerts to prevent detection. Action: audit all mailbox rules immediately, exchange admin center mailbox mail flow rules, review for suspicious patterns. Single character names, forwarding to external addresses, moves to archive/RSS folders, deletion rules. Implement conditional access policies requiring reauthentication for rule creation. Monitor for rules created shortly after account compromise. Review Microsoft 365 audit logs for mailbox rule operation events. Rules survive password changes, so removal is critical for compromised accounts. Source: Proofpoint Threat Insight. PlugX RAT distributed via fake Claude website. Fake Claude AI website distributes PlugX remote access Trojan targeting users searching for Anthropic's Claude. The malware mimics legitimate Anthropic installation process and relies on DLL, Dynamic Link Library, sideloading for execution. The campaign cleans up after itself to avoid detection. PlugX is a long-standing Chinese APT, advanced persistent threat, malware family used for espionage and persistence. Action: download Claude only from official Anthropic channels. Claude AI Claude.com. Verify code signing certificates before installation. Monitor for unexpected DLL loads in Claude installation directories. Block domains impersonating Claude AI/Claude.com at DNS or web proxy layer. Source: Security Week. Next section: Ransomware and Extortion. Janla RAT targets Latin American financial institutions. Janla RAT is a modified variant of BXRAT, targeting financial and cryptocurrency data from banks in Latin America since June 2023. The malware monitors browser activity using custom title bar detection to identify target websites and intercept banking interactions. Recent campaigns evolved to use MSI files delivering legitimate PE32 executables and sideloaded DLLs, Neveska, EXE plus Pixel Paint, DLL. Janla RAT version 33 was masqueraded as legitimate pixel art app, protected with eSfiscator obfuscator. Previous versions used Confuser X. Infection begins with phishing emails mimicking pending invoice delivery, redirecting victims to malicious websites downloading compressed archives. MSI Dropper creates startup persistence via LNK shortcut and redirects users to external website as decoy. Action: monitor for MSI installations creating startup LNK shortcuts pointing to renamed executables. Block email attachments with VB script, XML, or nested ZIP archives. Inspect DLL sideloading attempts involving legitimate binaries in user directories. Kaspersky detection, Trojan, script, generic backdoor, MSIL, agent, gen, source, Securalist Kaspersky. Next section: Patch Priority. Marimo Python Notebook, version 0.23.0, addresses CVE 2026-39987, CVSS 9.3, actively exploited for credential theft. OpenAI Mac OS apps, update before May 8 deadline to avoid certificate revocation blocking. Microsoft 365 mailbox rules, audit and remove malicious rules, 10% of compromises in Q4 2025. Next section: General Security News. France migrates from Windows to Linux for digital sovereignty. France's Interministerial Directorate for Digital Affairs, DINUM, will migrate from Windows desktops to Linux as part of broader digital sovereignty initiative. The agency employs 201,500 people, 0.8% of France's 5.8 million civil servants, and serves as test case for wider government migration. All French ministries are now required to create plans adopting non-European alternatives for PC operating systems, collaboration tools, antivirus, AI, databases, virtualization, and network equipment. DINUM already sponsors less suite collection of open-source tools. Visio replaces Teams/Meet, France Transfert/Fishers replaces Drive/OneDrive, Messagerie, Email, Docs/Grist Office suites, and TeachApp Secure Messaging, based on Matrix Protocol. State Procurement Department will devise timeline for reducing American tech dependence. Industrial digital meetings scheduled for June 2026 to engage private sector. Sources: Risky Biz News, The Register. Gmail end-to-end encryption for mobile enterprise users. Gmail now supports end-to-end encryption for Android and iOS enterprise users. The feature allows composing and reading encrypted messages natively on mobile devices without requiring desktop clients. Available exclusively for Google Workspace Enterprise accounts. Source: Security Week. Linux 7.0 released with official Rust support. Linux kernel 7.0 released with official Rust language support, concluding experimental phase. Linus Torvalds noted AI tools are finding corner cases for us for a while, and this may be the new normal for bug discovery. Kernel 2 IC Greg Krohartman confirmed AI has become useful bug spotter, prompting documentation updates to security bugs. RSD file to guide AI tools and users on better security bug reports. Release includes enhanced ARM/RISC-V/Lumsen support, sophisticated KVM support for AMD EPYC 5 CPUs, self-healing XFS file system, and new code for legacy Spark and DEC Alpha CPUs. Source: The Register. Anthropic Mythos AI model for zero-day discovery. Anthropic launched Mythos, an AI model claimed capable of finding and exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities with high success rates. The company describes the model as too dangerous to release publicly. Security community debate centers on whether the claims represent genuine capability or pre-IPO marketing hype. Source: The Register. Next section, Trends and Context. Active exploitation timelines continue compressing. Marimo CVE 2026-39987 exploitation began 10 hours post-disclosure, demonstrating automated exploit development from public advisories. Malicious mailbox rules in Microsoft 365 show attackers rely on low-effort persistence, single-character rule names, minimal operational security, confident in detection gaps. France's Linux migration follows similar moves by Germany, Schleswig-Holstein, 60,000 users, Netherlands, 4 cities piloting, and Denmark, multiple cities, citing American surveillance concerns and digital sovereignty. The common thread: adversaries bet on defenders not checking native platform features, while geopolitical tensions accelerate decoupling from U.S. technology vendors. That concludes today's Cyber Threat Brief. From Carolina Clear Tech. Stay patched, stay vigilant.